We are back with yet another episode of Celebrating Arts with Shailaja with an incredible artist, Seema Kohli. Several meanings unfold as you stand in front of a work created by Seema Kohli. Layered and detailed, her bright and colorful works delve into themes of femininity, spirituality, and mythology. At the center of it all is Shakti, the divine feminine energy. Over the course of a 3 decade career, contemporary visual artist Seema Kohli has created paintings, sculptures, installations, and performances. She has showcased her art in many solo and group exhibitions in India and abroad. Her public murals and installations are enormous, even if her paintings are intricate. At the Kala Ghoda Arts Festival in 2016, Kohli used 700 glass holders and 1,000 colored cutting chai glasses to construct a huge piece. Her solo project, which recreated collections of a family home in Pind Dadan Khan, a town in Pakistan's Jhelum district, was on display in January in her studio in Delhi. The Delhi-based artist has also won the esteemed Lalit Kala Academy Award in recognition of her artistic contributions. Her works are housed in numerous museums and institutions collections worldwide, including the museums in the US, British Museum, and the Kiran Nadar Museum of Arts in India. It's a wonderful opportunity to engage with such a senior and sensitive artist like Seema ji on our platform. A very warm welcome to you, Seema ji.
Hello, really nice to be here on this platform, Shailaja. Thank you.
So, Seema ji, the first question is that Indian art thrived up till 2000s. Not that it's not thriving now, but we saw an art boom, an unprecedented art boom, and then we saw a slump. Now, with so many institutions opening up, new galleries, Indian art breaking new records, setting new records, do you think Indian art is having a moment under the sun?
Yes, it is. It's really a wonderful moment, especially with the latest, with M.F. Husain's painting getting the recognition and the prize that it deserved, I'm sure. It is a great moment for Indian art, and I think it was long overdue. In the international scene and the international market, it was not, it has been started, I think, some years back, about 8 to 10 years back, but now I think it's finally arrived, and we only have a way ahead to go.
Ma'am, there is a new generation of young tech-savvy people who have deep pockets but may not know much about art. How does that person buy his or her first work of art? How does that person enter an art gallery and buy it directly from an art gallery and not from a store? So, can you shed some light on it? Can you give us some insights?
Learning about all this is not so difficult, and learning is never late. I understand that. But what you said, that people do not understand art. See, some people buy art for the sake of investment. Whether it is a small investment, whether it is a large investment, they always need to consult somebody who is already there, some curators, some gallerists. But I feel that it is always nice to go to a gallery and not feel intimidated by the gallery, and go to the gallery and collect art directly from them, so that they get, first of all, they get the art with origin directly from the artist gone to the gallery, and the authenticity certificate is there. There is somewhere that you go back to the gallery to understand and make a connection for the future buying also. And the gallery can keep you updated about how new art is coming, new artists are coming, where all they can, new exhibitions are on. So I feel, yes, that it's not so difficult for the people, especially who are tech savvy, to Google and to see, to check out who is the artist or the art that they connect to. I would recommend not all art is investment for me. As well, I think whether it is contemporary art or you buy some traditional art or whatever from wherever, all art is of a great value. It is a great investment that you're making, not only for in the terms of monetary this thing, your monetary resources, but also in the terms of the fact that the emotional value it will hold for you. The times when you're sitting with the painting and talking to the painting, it becomes an heirloom of your children, your grandchildren. The wall sort of owns that piece, that artwork. So I think they should go more by their instinct and then later by the value aspect of it. It should first be seen that do they connect with that kind of art that they are looking at, buying or picking up.
But do you think that people in general are intimidated by art? They
I
are
do.
afraid to enter a gallery space. And why is that?
Yes, yes. Uh, I think because it's an unknown space, that's all. I think galleries are also making a lot of effort to open up their spaces by doing public art, by doing shows in not in private galleries, but in public galleries. You know, there are so many galleries now which you can rent. We have Triveni, Sridharani Gallery, we have Bikaner House, we have Travancore House, we have so many galleries now in which you can just go and not feel so intimidated because there are other eating places there. You go, you just probably just walk in and you need to but feel a little more comfortable, but that can be see for anything. Also if it is fashion, people can get intimidated by that, but because they like to dress up, you know, they still take take that courage and they walk into maybe a fashion designer which they would not probably look otherwise, but they do go. And I feel you need to educate yourself a little more, because if you like to do something, you will make an effort. You will go online, check a few things, know more about artists, know more about art, and then maybe uh, go around. But as far as I think, I have seen people very unusual, kind of audience, and they have come with their families, with their children. The parents maybe wouldn't have ever gone to a gallery when they were young, but they're taking their children to the museums, walking them down. Actually, we do not have a culture in India because everything, if it is education, if the child is small, then he has to go to only educational institutions and art ka kya karoge types. It does not hold value. Earlier, it was the same for sports, but now I think parents have also realized the value of physical training and sports and the way that they see the world coming around sports for the youngsters. I hope and I really wish that they start looking at art in a way of education of, and also a thing of value for emotional intelligence. It is not directly linked to your, uh, you know, monetary things or
Yeah.
investment or your other things. But if you, because everything nowadays is, if you're spending time on something, you feel, oh God, इसको मतलब इतना time इस पे लगाने की क्या जरूरत है? Like, why should we spend? So stop looking at it like that. Give it, think of it as listening to a song, good music, good art is as essential as that.
Ma'am, I've often heard artists tell me that, we are artists, we are not activists. But I still believe that artists in this, rapidly changing world, especially in this world of social media and, this information overload and so much happening around us, artists have the capability to change our worldview or to show us a new worldview,
Absolutely.
or influence our thought process. Do you agree?
I agree 100%, but it should resonate with the artist. Activism is not something that you can carry it on your sleeve by borrowing somebody else's ideas. It has to be very intrinsic within you. You have to be having the conviction, because art is very transparent. If you're an artist, whatever you make, it has to have yourself in it. And if you do not have that a certain ideology and you just do it because हमें एक्टिविस्ट होना चाहिए, हमें एक भाषा कहनी चाहिए, हमें ये एक मैसेज देना है, तो वो it's more like a commissioned work. It is not something coming from inside. And I personally feel all art is a very personal thought, and it is activist. It is political. It cannot go away. We are living at all times. It was not at this time that it becomes political or activists. Any artist who is doing a work, he's not telling the story of the country or the universe or the world, or he's telling his story, which is very unique, which is very different. And he's not giving a message. The only difference between an artist and an activist is, as far as I think, I'm just speaking from my point of view, it is that you're telling your internal story. Art is all about your internal journey for me. It is not about what is happening outside. जो हो रहा है वो तो नजर आ ही रहा है, वो प्रेस का काम है, वो बहुत और चीजों का काम है, हमारा भी काम है, मैं उसको मना नहीं कर रही. But the fact is that till the time it passes through the sieve of my internal realization and my internal acceptance of certain things, how do I call myself activist? I cannot own activism like that. You can own to become an artist like that. When you're saying your story, when you are an activist, you say everyone's story. And you give a message. As an artist, you are not supposed to give a message. And as an artist, you are telling your story. You're not trying to change people. If people change with it, amazing. If people don't change with it, you're not holding them back and saying, ये तो आपको करना पड़ेगा, आपको समझना पड़ेगा. नहीं, आपको मेरी बात नहीं समझ आ रही है, I'm so sorry. It's okay. So, like, as far as I think, this is purely my own analysis of a journey of an artist.
Very well said, ma'am. Thank you for those thought-provoking
I
message.
hope it resonated well.
Ma'am, coming to your own art practice, which is so immersed in spirituality, divinity, how do you think these stories resonate with people? And it has resonated with people all this while. And tell me a little bit about it.
Actually, I was also very surprised because before I was accepted uh, as an artist who could be taken, the artworks to be taken home, I think for more than 15 years, I wasn't even selling any art. Like I was just making it and stacking it in the house. I was a bit surprised and a bit overwhelmed when I was like people started buying my works, and I was overwhelmed actually. I think it's the idea that we all are craving for peace. We all are looking out for beauty. Beauty is not something which can be written and said कि ये चीजें हैं, markers हैं, इनको beauty के अंदर रखना है. I say a very different story. I say, my paintings say a dastan goi. They are layered with many stories. It's like a dastan goi. And when you ek ek parat utarti hai, when the sheets come off, then only you see the real story behind it. Otherwise, you see the beauty and you want to know the story more and more. And I think that's what happened. That's how it started. And over the years, people realized I was talking about love. I was talking about balance of energies. I was talking about one maternal link that binds us all through one, like the umbilical cord coming out and connecting us all over the universe. But it was a very slow process. And now I realized, the more I see people liking my work or accepting it or wanting to connect with it or wanting to know more about it, I understand the thirst for love, the thirst for being together as one universe, you know? So we all belong to one home, and that's what I talk about. So I think that's a very simple and a very humane kind of feeling. That's what people connect with. The rest, I really won't know. You would have to probably ask somebody who is, got my work and what they feel about it.
Yeah. Your work is like really layered. So whenever I stand in front of your work, it's like um, एक बारी में तो नहीं समझ में आएगा, उसको बहुत बारी आपको देखना पड़ेगा और बार बार देखना पड़ेगा सो दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड इट. यू हैव टू कीप गोइंग बैक टू सीमा जीज कैनवस, क्योंकि बहुत छोटी छोटी बारीक चीजें होती हैं, वो मिस भी हो जाएंगी. सो
और
दैट्स.
वही शायद बात आई थिंक दैट सॉरी डिड आई कट यू
नो नो नो, प्लीज गो अहेड मैम.
I think that is the thing which probably people or my collectors they enjoy with my work is that they sit down and they over the years they find that there are so many other layers and stories, and I say that you see your stories in my work.
Yeah.
I may be saying something else, but how it is connecting with you is that you are saying your story and the canvas is talking to you. It no more is Seema Kohli's her story there. Now it is the canvas's story to you because I also feel that canvas has a life, that image has a life of its own. It's very much alive, saying many stories. It told me the stories that I put on the canvas. So it certainly has the ability to say stories to the viewers and the audience, whoever has it.
Ma'am, you are a very spiritual person, and how does that spirituality, obviously, it reflects in your art? How does that shape or how does that give birth to your art practice?
See, spirituality, I must say, I have to give the whole credit to my parents and my family, my grandparents, everyone around me, because it is not something that you inculcate in you, कि मैं तो spiritual हो रही हूँ आज से. There's nothing like that. It has to be something which I have, I don't know, inherited or the atmosphere was such that there were so many stories, so many beings who were coming into our homes from not one particular religion, but from various religions, from various faiths. So once it becomes from various faiths, it becomes that there is only one universal truth. There is only one consciousness. Suddenly you realize there is no difference, and there is no age bar, no gender, no religious baggage. And it is a very beautiful feeling. And I was lucky enough to get that kind of upbringing. And that's why it flowed very easily. And I never realized I was doing spiritual work. But I think it resonates a lot with tranquility and peacefulness. And that may be because they're so busy. It is not that मैं बहुत शांति वाला एक meditation का course बना देती हूँ. I don't do that. it's constantly juxtaposed with so many images, and all the images are in movement, the trees are in movement, everything is alive, everything is moving. There is nothing which is static. And that's what is life. Life is not static. It's constantly moving. Each breath coming in and going out is a magic. And that's what I feel every time I'm holding a pen, and every time I'm probably talking to you also, this magic, and to realize this magic is being spiritual. I don't think there is any scriptural study required for this. Not that I haven't had the scriptural study or upbringing where I was trained into scriptures, mostly Hindu and Sikh. And then, of course, the Sufis and the Christianity, and so it was very normal. I still remember as children, we were really bothering our father, and we had a Bible at home, which it was a Taj made on it. It was a very common Bible, which was given, I think, free at that time. I was about 10, in 10th. And it was written love, the greatest is love, and all that. And we were really bothering our parents, more not my parents, my dad. And dad just picked up that book, whatever came to his hand, he picked up and he said, I'm leaving for some time. And he went, we live very close to the ridge, and he went into the ridge and he sat there under a tree, and he opened the book, the page, and it was written, where Christ is saying that you go back and you're like my sheep, and the lambs or sheep, and you go back and look after them. And he read that and he just came back home and he said, I've got the message. So it was not that you're looking for message only at one place. Not that I'm saying that this is right or that is right. What I'm saying is the message of everyone is love. you know so, and when he came and he told us, so naturally as a child, what would I think? There was no difference between any gods and goddesses in our upbringing, in all children, I think. So it flows easily, it flows very, very easily. And that's why probably it shows. I have no idea.
Lovely story. Ma'am, is there a particular artwork of yours that holds a very personal meaning? And if you can talk about
All
that.
of them, I must
I know it's
say,
difficult to choose.
Shailaja, it's very rare that I would do some artwork without feeling it, without it calling out to me and telling me that it needs to be painted. So I don't think I would do anything like that. Yeah. Then particular artwork, it can be particular theme. That is the golden womb theme, which is very predominant in my works. So that sort of engulfs everything. Yeah. Your voice.
But have you experienced a very overwhelming response from a viewer to your painting? Because your paintings are very, very powerful.
And
They can really leave
there,
you moved.
there have been a lot of moments when I've, especially, there is there are a lot of paintings. There's not a single painting based on the golden womb, especially when I did my first series called Swayam Siddha in 2009. It was based on the golden womb only. It was called Swayam Siddha. It was held at Lalit Kala many years back. And that was a time, I think it was the first time contact with my viewers, and to when they were talking about each work. And I was really surprised that how art can say so many things, which probably artist also has not thought about, and yeah, it is very uh, humbling, and you feel in deep gratitude when these kind of things happen, when somebody comes and tells me that there was one work, it was a very simple landscape. This was done in 2009, 1998. There was a show I did at IFAX, and there was one work which was a landscape. It was called Godhuli. It was all in red, and the cows coming back, that kind of work. It was very different. And very recently, I met somebody who came to me at the art fair, and they were looking at my works, and then they said, Seema ji, we don't know whether you remember us or not, but we picked up one work from you from IFAX. And I looked at his face. I said, was it Godhuli? So he was shocked. He said, that was so many years back. You have a fantastic memory. I said, no, no, it is not that. I just remember because you were really, you really liked that work and all that. And he looked at me and he said, no, you have done so many works till yet after that. And your work has really become so different. And it's this and that. He said everything. But it is nothing like the work that I have. And
No.
that was the time when I told him, I said, because it is your work and not mine anymore. Because you have communicated enough stories to the canvas, and the canvas has talked to you about so many other things. So we have to take artworks as living beings. We cannot take these images not to be living. They tell you stories. They talk to you. They are your friends, your therapists.
Well, can you tell me about that moment when Shakti entered your canvas, your
Yeah, I was very young. I was about 8 or 10 or 12 years around this period of time. I think I'd gone with my father to Haridwar, and he told us to pick up one artwork, one toy or something, not artwork. I can only think about artworks. So one toy or anything, there used to be earlier, not the shops, there used to be outside pavement shops and all that. And I picked up one Durga because we didn't have we uh, had a Arya Samaji household where not idol worship, but Vedas and the homam is the burning of the fire, and the thing is very important. And I had never seen a Durga like that. It was a small sculpture. It still is there in my little altar. And I just loved it because she seemed to be having so much of voice, grace, fearless, everything. And that's what I thought a woman should be. And that's the time when I started actually invoking her in my own way. I didn't know any ways of doing any kind of prayers or anything because we didn't have that in our household. But I started to go to temple and to see how Diya is late and everything. So that is the time when she entered. And she took over my work much later. That was in about 98. That is when my mother left her physical form. And I think she entered my work in the form of the feminine. Yeah.
So, ma'am, tell me a little bit about Kulasman. I'm really curious about this project that you did, and it is your latest project. It talks about your ancestral home in Pakistan. Tell me a little bit about it. Our viewers would love to know about it because it's a very deep,
Yeah,
insightful.
yeah. It has a deep study, and because I think I've had the maximum, whatever I am today, it is whatever I learned from my ancestors and my father. Uh, the story, the concept of Kulasman is not new actually. In 2018, actually, my father was writing a book. We have always been told these stories about this faraway land where they used to live and everything. But these stories, when as a kid, Later, of course, we knew what the place that they were talking about. The only thing was that the stories were never morbid or full of hate or something that they had something had gone wrong for them or some they were upset. Of course, there was a loss of inheritance because this place they had come from, they were about 18 generations back, they started living there. It was on the foothills of Himalayas. And they had a lot of memory of that place. But whenever we were talking about it, it was about the poetry, about the songs, or about their friends that they had. It was so. I think it was very important for me to put it down for him. And he always wanted to write an autobiography. And at that point, I never thought that this will be a long thing for me, which I will be. But when the autobiography was being written and he was transcribing, there were so many incidents that just pulled me. And I was surprised that how can I let this go? This story needs to be told to the generations in the family. That's how it started. And I told Dad that whatever the thing, even if it is a long book, story, autobiography, don't worry, we will edit it and all that, but you must say whatever you want to. And it started. But in 2019, when I was visiting US, some university, UC, Davis, and all that, there were so many universities. I mean, Kentucky, Buffalo. I went to about 6 universities to give lectures. And I also told the story, first few chapters of the book, which I had translated in English. And I saw that the people were very keen and interested in knowing that, mostly Indians and also non-Indians. Then in 2019, I did a show I was invited by KCC, Kolkata Creativity Center, and I was invited, and the show was held for almost a month, in which I did a performance. I showed the family history, books, and rest of the stuff. But I never realized that it was demanding more, I think, expansion in the concept, and that's how Kulasman came. And here I touched not only on the family history, the books, the photographs. I did lithos of my ancestors, my parents. I also did silver gelatin prints. They were unique in a way because each gelatin print was made out of about 8 or 10 photographs juxtaposed together, just like I do my paintings, different stories put together, different people put together. And then I painted on it with pen and ink, and also did photo colors on some. These photo colors were given to me by my father in 80s, early 80s, when I was doing my applied arts. And he had bought it further down in 1957. So it was a history that I was trying. And it was, I never realized that it'll become such a universal thing, because so many people came and cried and saw these works. There was a video, triple projection video that I had made out of various videos, which were short videos taken by my friend from Lahore, who went down to Pidnadan Khan all the way to do these videos and to show me how my home was, my parents' home was, and how the people are still living there. It was so loving. So there were a lot of smaller stories, smaller histories. So in fact, Swapna Little was there, and she said, this is a history with a small H, which is as important as a big H history, because these are the small histories which when put together, are become a sort of a cultural history or a societal history. This is about the culture of that land, of that space. And it was, I think, there were too many things at this point. There was a salt installation because the Kyoto mines were very close to where they lived, my father. So he used to talk about that. So I tried to create a salt installation. There was a coal installation, which was from a place called Dandoth, which was very close to my father's village. So all these places I tried to recreate by installations, paintings, performances, photographs, and it was very, I think, I must say, no words. It was a very strange moment of probably being with my ancestors for that month, that full month, and during the period that I was making these works. Yeah.
Wish I could see
I
them.
wish you had come and seen.
Yeah, I missed it.
It would have been.
Uh, Ma'am, you two installations, paintings, performance art, sculptures. How does an artist shift from one medium to another? How does an artist like you decide that this story needs this medium? I'm very curious about the process.
So there is the process is very simple. Um, when you are working, you're constant interaction with your painting. I also write. So this interaction becomes poetry for me. I keep writing along with whatever I'm painting, some kind of verses. That's very natural. I don't see any artist walking one stream. I haven't known anyone जो कहे कि भाई मेरे को तो ये एक तारा ही बजाना आता है, मेरे को कुछ नहीं आता हो. You know, because art is your temperament. These other streams are part of that. They're tributaries of the big river, which is creativity. So it is not that you jump from one place to another and you. I don't visualize my work as a sculptor. I'm not a sculptor. I'm a painter. I see a line. But that line talks to me that says, यार अभी काम तो नहीं बन रहा है, इसमें तो काम नहीं बन रहा मेरा. I want to be seen as an installation. What do I do then? I have to bow down to the fact, if I agree that this line which is there is living, if I say, no, ये तो कुछ ऐसी मैं बना के रख देती हूँ, पता नहीं. हाँ तो ठीक है फिर तो. But my procedure is, my process is different. I think most of the artists are like that, but I'm not too sure. So if a painting talks to me and says, yeah, you never stop at one image. No artist can make one image and say, इसके बाद तो मैं ये वाली image repeat ही नहीं करूँगा. होता नहीं. Because that image has so much to say, it'll keep coming as something or the other, something or the other. And when it is going on coming, and that says, yeah, ab ho gaya. I want to be like an installation. I want to be seen as a sculpture. And sculpture also, I don't do only bronze. I have done in glass, I've done in wood, I've done in terracotta. So it depends. What is the medium that you take? And I've never found it like a very tedious thing that, oh, अब मेरे को ये करना है. ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ है. If I have to do it, I just do it. Like, करना है वो नहीं आती स्टेज. कर रही हूँ ये होता है कि अच्छा आपको ये पसंद है, अभी जैसे कुछ बनाया तो ये कर सकते हैं, अच्छा ठीक है, लेट्स डू इट. कैसे करना है वो देखते हैं. You know, because it's never difficult to visualize, and then it is not difficult to move from and for performative and narrative performances that I do, I think it's very important for me because they give me more images. When my body is moving or doing some action, I'm creating those images for my future artworks. I don't know if you can understand this process. It is sounding very difficult, but it is not. Because what happens that you are creating images while you are doing your own performance, which is unscripted. Performances are unscripted. Performances that I do, narrative performances, none of the performances are scripted. If I go and visit a site where I am there for about 15 days, like I was in Banaras, the opposite to Assi Ghat, for almost about a month with my team. So it was not that I knew कि मैंने उधर जाके ऐसे करना है, अब ऐसे करेंगे, अब ऐसे करेंगे. रोज एक नई कहानी होती थी कि चलो अब इसको ऐसे कर लेते हैं, तो इसके लिए ये मटके कहाँ से आएंगे, ये लक्कड़ कहाँ से आएगी, बाद में होता था. नथिंग इज स्क्रिप्टेड. So you create more images. You're creating images constantly. You're creating visuals constantly. Am I too long in my answers?
No, it's a very insightful, process that you have given us, and it's so they're like really deep insights into your creative process. Uh, and really, a lot of viewers would want to know how does an artist create what he does or she does. So, thank you so much for this enriching conversation, and we are really grateful to you for coming and sharing your work, your art practice, and your thought process with us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure, completely, Shailaja. It was lovely talking to you.
Right.
Lovely. Bye-bye.